So right now, I discussed this a little bit a week ago. There is some instability happening in the Middle East, obviously. Now,
Yes.
right now, there have been casualties for obviously the Iranian side, the American side as we speak on 3/8/2026. I think 7 soldiers have died. It's less than 10, so it's not a huge amount, but still, every life is precious,
Yeah,
obviously.
that's for sure.
And what's happening now, we want to talk about the market and go back to our first podcast, second podcast, who we are. We want to talk about market, how it it really, really applies to the market.
How it affects the market. Yeah. What does
Yeah,
it mean?
potential market opportunity. Right, Dylan? Go ahead. Go ahead, Dylan. What do you want to say?
Sorry, yeah, like obviously it's always news, always news happening, whether it's, a war or a tariff or a breakup or whatever. There's always something going on in the world, and there has been for the last, 50,000 years. But we want to know from our angle is how do we make money on that? That's just the reality of it. There's nothing. We're both very moral people. That's not to say that we're immoral or don't care about the things. It's just that that's how we approach the just as a businessman would try to expand his business regardless of what's happening in the world around him. And that's I would consider a very good way to look at things.
Yeah, and by the
For
way,
your
you're
own
gonna
life and your own family and everything, no matter what's happening, is not one way to say it.
yeah, and by the way, you're gonna for as we go along with this podcast, and hopefully it lasts
A long time.
months, years, or whatever, you're gonna figure out we think very different politically, but say we'll save that. We'll save that for a little.
Some other episode. We actually have followers that'll be entertained by it.
Yeah, we'll save that for a little bit later. So, now here's the thing. So the reason why this is different than say the Gaza conflict, which happened about 2 years ago ish, is because much of the oil and oil is very the lifeblood for the world economy still, even though it's probably a little bit less than it was before, but still lifeblood of the West and emerging economies. And because the Strait of Hormuz and because Iran also does produce oil, any disruption in that oil can see a rise in prices. And normally, with a rise in prices in oil, for every, I think, $10 of rise in price of oil is an additional 0.2% of inflation on the inflation rate. So
For
it means
US,
a
what
lot.
you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, it means a lot.
Okay.
So, and we've seen that already. Okay. Um, Before this conflict, oil was in the $60 range. Pardon me. Now, as of today, we're at over $100, 107. Free market,
Yeah.
right? But free
Double
market, but
almost. Yeah.
107. That could bring up $4 on average. Pardon me.
Water? Yeah, yeah.
Water, yeah. $4 on average gasoline price in the US, which psychologically will really screw up people's minds. What I mean by screw up people's minds, just psychologically, the price of the pump is going to be something that people talk about a lot, including myself. So,
Sticker shock. Yeah.
yeah, sticker shock, sticker shock.
Like
So,
with Biden, you had the Biden, like, I did that, pointing to the gas price.
yeah, something like that. And
I'll take a couple
we'll
elected, I
see
think.
how high it goes. But I mean, for me, there is and I don't know where Dylan's at with this. We didn't really do a pre kind of thing on this. Is that where I think when missiles fly, time to buy. So
Violence blood of the streets, another way of saying it.
yeah, exactly. So if you go back and look at what happened with the war with Ukraine, that was more relevant than the war in Gaza because Gaza there was no oil really involved. It was a terrible situation and it didn't really affect the market almost at all. Go back
Yeah.
and back and do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you go back to Ukraine, it did.
It did.
Ukraine for sure. We saw a dip. We did see the pardon me, VIX spike all the way up to 38 at the peak during that time.
You're talking about Ukraine?
And I think the market went down, not crazy, but about 10% or so in that time. So that was a good buying opportunity. Do I see this as something like that? Yes. If I had to predict, and that's what we do. We normally want to predict on where these things go. Um, if you go back to almost, pardon me, go back to
More
almost
water.
any war. Yeah,
More water.
I'll have you talk soon. We go back to any war, it's almost always a buying opportunity. Now, the trick here and this where I guess I should ask Dylan, is when does it settle? We're still at war with Ukraine and well, not we. Ukraine is still at war with Russia.
Yeah.
Obviously, the market got used to it and it stabilized, right? I guess the real question I have for you, Dylan, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, is how soon do you think before stabilization? I'm going to guess, if I had to guess, it would be when the Strait of Hormuz is open and ships are flowing again, and then the market calms down. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, what I see is that all the market cares about is oil getting shipped. It doesn't honestly care about whether people are dying in Iran or not, and that's just the reality of it. So yeah, I mean, maybe a stabilization of the country as well, but since that might be the kind of like lower the uncertainty in the area. From what I know, as far as I understand, the people are not a big fan of the government, so it's not really necessarily a bad thing that there's this conflict between the people and the government, and there's this sort of not really civil war, but like a rebellion, I guess you could say, as far as I understand. That America rebelled against England, and it wasn't a terrible situation. It was a sort of a bad few years in terms of everyone's living conditions were bad, and it was sort of a tough transition period. But it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it would have been better if we had figured out a way to work with England and have that ally and work with them and have our own independence regardless, sort of like a more of an India situation where it's sort of a peaceful transition with England or something like that. But it just with the King George or whatever, I don't think it was really in the cards, or at least a very small probability. So I think it's probably similar. I've never been to Iran. I'm no expert with Iran, but as far as I understand from what I've come across is that it might be a rough time period, but it might be kind of a rough period towards a better time period where they can get rid of their fairly evil to moral terms in that, but a unwanted government by the people might be at least pressured to be better, if not removed and replaced. So I mean, these things typically, if you look historically, these things do not go well. Rebellions on the surface, these transition time periods are not known for making prosperity and great things. It's really tricky, historically speaking, to make it go well. It did in the American example, obviously, but a lot of examples they don't really go too well. It can be very bad for a long time, a lot of unrest for a long time. So that's something we should try to avoid. But yeah, that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd certainly agree. I think what it really boils down to is which side is willing to blink first, right? You've got three different countries involved in this war: Israel, right? US and Iran, right? They all
Mhm.
have different ways of going about things. Again, my opinion, and this is important for the market wise. Iran is trying to have the maximum amount of instability they potentially can, right? That means you see their targets. They're blowing up oil fields, not really going after populations. They're trying to bomb the Gulf countries if they can, try to get those people, Americans, etc., back home and just make things a mess, right? It's closing the Strait of
That's not
Hormuz.
really a good sign, by the way. Anybody's trying to make a big disaster and mass confusion. It's not
Yeah,
really a
yeah,
good
but that
sign,
again,
generally speaking.
it's not a good. Look, I'm not here to really explain their strategy. I'm just giving the
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah, your take.
Yeah, yeah. So Israel is obviously doesn't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and I don't think they mind the chaos that's going on because more chaos means they can't shoot a bomb, they can't have their nuclear program. U.S. I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't know what the administration wants to do. They're all over the map. You know what I mean? So with this is that with all these three parties having their own kind of goals, right? The goal, which is worse for the market, in my opinion, are Israel right? Because they want instability. And Iran, they want instability. US, I don't know what they want, right? So I guess it really comes down to how long Iran can fight. You know what I mean? How long can Iran
Are you
continue
defining
on?
Iran as the Iranian military, basically, not the people? As
Oh
far as
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand,
yeah. Everything's
people
about
are
military
the whole
because I don't.
protest
Yeah, yeah. I
involved.
don't. Yeah, I don't think unless the people are shooting at the oil. You know what I mean? Oil fields. I assume it's the military. You know, doing that. Um, I
But
guess the
isn't what's
Iranian
involved?
regime.
Well, it's a whole what involved. Well, isn't there a whole revolt with the people, with the government involved in this whole conflict as well?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be market participators, right? Not now, at least.
Okay. Huh.
They don't have.
Okay.
I don't think they have the ability to shoot missiles or do anything like that. They have the potential ability to dethrone the government, but
That's
that's
what
a
I'm saying. Couldn't they
yeah,
just get oust the administration there and put in theoretically a new administration that would be the market would like, I guess?
or worse. That's an unknown,
Or worse, of course, yeah.
right? So let's. I'm gonna table that one because that's an either or, right?
Well, what
First,
I mean is that might be an uncertainty, might be a factor that's
oh
affecting the
yeah,
is
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
thought.
yeah, yeah, of uncertainty, but
A fourth element.
I would say, oh, okay, good. So okay, good, good. So that's the fourth element. Yes, more uncertainty with the people coming in. Is it bad or worse? The only one that's good for the market is getting this Iran settled, right? Settled
Yeah,
meaning
if
I
the
hate to say,
US aligns with the people and kind of like makes things calm down, that would be best for the market and for the world, probably.
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying this because let's admit it, China and Asia get most of their oil from that area. So they're gonna look,
Yeah.
we
That was one thing I immediately thought of was like now it seems like Trump is putting the squeeze on China even more because cut off to Venezuela, that's hurting Cuba, that's hurting China a little bit, and then now we're going on Iran, and I'm like, China's feeling all this, like, huh?
yeah, obviously they want um the oil to keep flowing, obviously.
They need it. They
They
desperately need
need the
it.
oil to
Revenge.
keep
And
flowing.
yeah.
But here's the thing though. So I think we can both agree the longer the instability happens, and let me just say this. I hate to say it. I'm gonna simplify things because me and you are simple guys. And maybe I'm oversimplifying it. If the oil doesn't flow through the Strait of Hormuz, it's chaos. It'd be chaos for, can we agree on that? Chaos for the market?
Yes. Yeah. 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 I think
Okay,
we can
so let's just focus on that portion because we can both agree, and I think our
focus
audience
on
can
that.
agree
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that. So until that opens up, until they
And
figure
that
out
was like
what,
a quarter of the world's oil ships through there, right? You looked into this,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I think it's 20 to 25 to 30%,
Oh,
but
smoke as high as 30. Okay.
size 30. But however, US only gets like 5 to 10% from it. It's mostly going to Asia. It's like Japan, it's mostly Japan, China, Korea, India a little bit, although India is kind of more tied to Russia now a little bit more. So, but it's mostly and that's why, I mean, I'm looking at the futures now. I mean, um, the Japanese market went down 5 or 6% in one day, which is nuts,
Huge.
which is nuts today. So, so yeah, okay, so back to the point, until the Strait of Hormuz continues to be closed, we're going to see higher oil, I think, and that's why I told my buddy and the audience, if you listen to this in time, fill up your gas, fill up your gas
Go to the
tank.
gas station quick, save yourself a couple bucks.
Yeah, yeah, save a couple bucks. You know what I mean? So, I mean that's basically my
Morning,
opinion on it.
probably.
I'm
Yeah.
simplifying it a lot because this is something we can probably talk about, like geopolitically what can happen. The people take over. Israel says no, you know what I mean? US and Israel get in whatever. But yeah, so okay. So what any opinions on that before I move on? Because I'm gonna move on within the subject to oil.
Yeah, I mean, I think you asked me earlier, what do you think? Like, what's your base case on the in terms of this scenario? Did I
Yeah,
understand the
what's your
question?
base
Yeah.
case and I guess how long do you see before this having a I don't want to say solution. Solution makes it seem like it's final. I think everything's always fluid.
Boom, boom, boom. We
Yeah,
hit the
everything's
king.
always
Yeah.
fluid. How long before you think the market just accepts this and moves on to another crisis? That's probably an even better question.
Yeah, so the uncertainty is stabilized basically, like with Ukraine, Russia. I mean, I don't see this happening for very long. Either it's going to turn into a stable sort of situation where there's the uncertainty is. I see with the Ukraine and Russia war in the beginning, we didn't know, are they going to start nuking each other and we're all going to die from nuclear war, or are they just going to keep it a kinetic, keep it clean, so to speak, and keep it kinetic, no nukes involved, nothing, whatever. And Russia plenty of nukes and they haven't nuked Ukraine. So they could have you could have nuked, Kyiv and had the war over in a day. They have plenty of nukes, more than anyone else in the world, as far as I understand. But they're restraining from that. They're keeping, so that was an unknown when the war started. Is Russia gonna basically open that door? And that's a big door to open. And as badly as you may think of as Russia, they were at least consider is probably not the right word, thoughtful enough to not open the door of nuclear um, attacks, because then it's like now they're opening the door to get attacked, nuclear, get nuked themselves. Like, is Moscow going to get nuked now? You know what I mean? Like, so they were considerate enough, so to speak, or thoughtful enough to not do that. And I feel like now that possibility is very, very low, if not, virtually zero now. And so now the market's like, okay, cool, that's out of power. It's just basically two dudes somewhere in the corner of the world killing each other. And it's sort of irrelevant to the rest of the world and commerce and whatever, as long as it sort of stays contained. So I feel like this is likely to do the same thing. Like, as it progresses, people either will continue and there'll be a whole long civil war that goes for 20 years or whatever, or something like that, but it'll sort of settle down in terms of uncertainty and stuff. Or it will just kind of be over and a new leader. One of those things will happen in a month or whatever, and things will kind of stabilize. Is my prediction, my base case.
So, so you're thinking about a month? This,
Yeah,
I mean, look,
yeah.
look, like,
Don't hold
I
me,
mean,
don't hold
yeah,
me,
so
put a
think
gun to
about a
my head,
month.
but
I
yeah,
think
say
that's
one
pretty
month.
good.
Yeah.
I would say that a month. Oh, well, there's another question. A month starting last week when it started, or a month starting today?
That's a good point. I would say today being maximum uncertainty with the oil spiking and all this hoo-ha happening as of this weekend.
Okay.
So put that in the books. I guess it would be what, March, April 8th. Excuse me,
April 8th.
April 8th. Mm-hmm. It's not over, then it's my fault. I'm just kidding.
No, no, no. You're good. You're good. So let's get back to like okay. This is what I want to talk about. I agree with your assessment there. Although I think it's probably going to take, you know what? I'm going to say it's going to take a little less time. Probably not a month. I'm going to say 2 weeks. Maybe
Okay.
10 trading days from Monday, because it's already gone a week. You know what I mean? So the market's already had that jitteriness, right?
Yeah.
The VIX is already now, today's like its highest spike,
26 or something.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20, I think 26 to 28, high 20s. This is a high
High
20s.
20s. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean? And
what I
then,
saw on my end.
yeah, and then the war with Ukraine got up to like 38 spike, right? So maybe there's a little bit more spike, but it didn't stay there for long. I don't not like it didn't stay there for months. It was like a week or something it stayed, or even a couple days. And remember, even though the VIX spikes up, it doesn't mean the market's necessarily down. It's just the volatility's all up. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna say about 10 days, 2 weeks. Now, let's get I'm going to cut to the chase now. Is that I do think it's a buying opportunity starting now. However,
Yes.
I would not buy all at once. I would start position, very
Right.
much look at the market, and this is more of a market for me, at least the way I've done it the last 2 years. Is this is a news headline type looking at. You're looking at news headlines to see what Donald Trump is putting out, what Israel's putting out, what Iran's putting out, right? And you're also, for me, pro tip, this is what I would do, is I would look at see that Strait of Hormuz, right? Are ships going through? Yes, that's good. Are ships not going through? No, that's bad. Simplifying it. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah. I think it's a good rule to kind of simplify all the details involved in the situation for sure.
Okay. The other thing I did want to move on to a little bit, and it's of the same subject of at oil at 108, right? Or in the hundreds.
107 change. Yeah.
107. What is the breaking point you think for not just America, but like the world economy, uh, in terms of oil at a specific price?
Yeah, I mean, inflation adjusted, I think there were, what was it, like one, I don't have a chart in front of me, but like in the, what, 130, 140 in like the 2007 time period, 2008, right around there,
Mhm.
2006. Um, and that was pretty hot. I mean, but even then, still inflation adjusted, I would say 150 is still stretched but manageable. So I would say we're not anywhere near there at 100, to be honest.
Okay. Um,
Actually, inflation adjusted. I mean, inflation since 2008 has been like what, like 30% at least.
yeah, for sure. And we still haven't hit the highs of oil. So I guess,
Yeah,
I guess to me is you still think oil has some room to run?
for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy like futures on it right now. Just, I don't have a high probability, like a high certainty, but if someone forced me to bet whether it's any higher or lower, I would bet higher.
Mhm. Okay. 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 I think that's pretty good with the so oh no, this is the next question. This is actually a really good question. We both had predictions of about 74 to 7,500, right? Market end. We are March 8th, which means we still got what, 9 months ish, no left in the market.
Yeah.
Um, that would mean like almost a 15% up to hit our targets, right?
Yeah.
Just talk about the market or whatever. Um, this would mean that market would have to have a pretty good second half to kind of catch up. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah, fair to say. You still, I guess, another question. I'm still sticking with my prediction. Are you still sticking with yours?
Me too, yeah. And again, it's hard to know obviously exactly what's going to happen. I'm still sticking by my Bitcoin prediction as well. Although Bitcoin has been very strange lately, and I think it's a bit of a transition period. So I don't know if it's going to happen at the end of the year because of this whole like lows that are happening and what I would call, for lack of a better word, manipulation. So um yeah, I mean, there's more Bitcoin adoption. All the fundamentals are better about Bitcoin, as far as I understand. There's no everything's better fundamentally speaking about Bitcoin. What I mean is that the user base is higher, the people using it, the people accepting it, all those numbers are higher that I've seen. That should lead to a higher price, and it's not. So that's why there's some sort of anomaly going on there that I don't know how long that entity causing that anomaly, or entities most likely, are going to continue or be able to continue or whatever. But I think like a ball pushed into water, it's eventually going to have to go up. So just like gold was, I bought gold in the heavy inflation in 2022, a lot of gold, and it didn't really move anywhere. And I felt like I had to move. I didn't want to hold it long term enough to wait, but obviously I could have held for a while, and then finally it pops up to 5,000 because I was in the 2,000.
Yeah, we're gonna get to gold one of these. I keep telling audience, it's just no, I mean, I was gonna tell
next
the
week,
audience
next week, next week.
those type of videos don't
But I'm
get
just saying, you
yeah,
look at the fundamentals of gold, you look at everything, you look at the inflation, you dig into it for hours and hours, and you're like, the gold price has to go up. I mean, unless the world blows up, the gold price, it's just so like sort of everything past sort of leaves you there, and you buy it and hold it for almost 2 years, and you're like, it's not going up. Like something's going on. I don't know who was manipulating it, but it should have gone up. All the fundamentals were looking better for gold, so.
yeah. Well,
And we
central
didn't.
banks have been buying it for quite a while, but
Yeah, so I don't know if there was like a lull in the central bank buying, and then I don't I'm not like born and raised in the gold industry, so I don't know all the ins and outs of the details of the buying situation and everything. But from my research, whatever, and looking how it went from 2,000 to 5,000 so quick, I think there was a little bit of artificial suppressant on the price. I think a natural free market gold price would have been more gradual. So from
yeah,
2,000 to 5.
well,
I don't think it would have been like that and like that. I don't really see that with other parties. Not yeah. Anyways, you get the idea.
yeah, no, no, I get the idea. So, okay, so basically okay, so we got about 6 minutes left for the Iran thing. So, bullet points for the end is that missiles fly, time to buy. I do think this is a buying opportunity.
For sure.
Particularly, I
Yeah.
think everything's selling off. At least I'm looking at Bloomberg here.
Yeah, gold even. I know.
Gold
Crazy,
is
huh?
even selling off.
Oil.
That tells me again. That tells me that everybody's just like, oh my god, I'm selling everything. I just want to be in cash. Which you're in cash. Did you want to talk about? Well, do you want to talk about that or no?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been, it's not not just intentionally trying to be cash, but mostly just trading around. Summit has been my strategy. I think we talked about this earlier in an early episode where I'm sort of trading around this position. I'm not really one to do partial, just my personal preference. There's not really a well, I guess technically you can look at it mathematically and say it's wrong, but it's not really a huge drag in your portfolio to do full move, especially if you have a smaller portfolio, have like $100 million, you're trying to move it out where you have a lot of market drag, market friction, and you're moving the price up and down. If you're small enough fish that you can move around the market and not do anything, it's not really a huge a reason to not just do full moves, as far as I know. There's slight like risk management. There's slight reasons, but not really any major reason. You can still get good performance. Um,
Go back,
anyways,
by the way, go back to our diversification video, guys, if you want diversification, we have a video on that, but go ahead.
there you go. There
Sorry,
you
guys.
go. There you go. Anyways, but yeah, so I happen to just be in all cash, which is great for these kind of things for the weekend. So I'm not completely in cash, but virtually all in cash.
Mm. Um, do you plan on deploying it during this? I mean, I guess would you plan on deploying it tomorrow? I guess or today? Well, no, not tomorrow.
I mean, I'm definitely watching closely, obviously. I'm not qualified to do anything in the oil space. I don't know enough,
Not
but I
oil.
think
No, no. I'm just. No.
I
I
mean,
think
but yeah,
everything's
yeah,
illegal.
and I'm not going to buy, anything in that space. So I think that that's going to be where the real volatility and money is going to be made. From what I can tell, have the oil prices going crazy. I unfortunately don't have the expertise to know what the hell to do. I actually mentioned to one of my guys, my friends who's in Canada, he trades oil, but he hasn't been trading recently. He's got a side job he's been busy doing that. And he hasn't really been trading oil much, so he follows it obviously, but he's not making any money on this move or anything. He didn't see it coming, nothing. So, yeah, I thought he might have some sort of oh my God, I bought those contracts and they're fucking, I'm rolling in the dough and everything. But no, he did it. He's been busy, kind of like me, working on other stuff, and he just hasn't really been heavy in the market. He's a part-time market guy, so, but he's way more obsessed than me, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm looking at it as like I dipped my toe in a little bit. I think it was on Thursday. Obviously, not the absolute bottom, but I never buy everything at once. I always buy a little.
I like,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm certainly going to buy more on Monday. I think, assuming again things change, news comes out. This is just futures, right? Assuming things, I do think buying here strategically for long term, deploying cash that you do have. I'm buying VU S&P 500, especially in moments like this where I can't pick a bottom stock, which just gets blown out in this time period. And I'm also I didn't tell you this, Dylan. I'm also thinking of potentially trimming some oil because I don't think oil.
Oh yeah, like you're trimming the gold when but Exxon, when I looked at the price, it wasn't
It
really
wasn't
acting.
moving. Well, that's what tells me.
Wasn't moving. So I'm like, I guess all the investors are thinking this is a temporary blip. They're not pricing it
Aha, bingo, and that's why I'm going exactly what you're thinking.
in. Ugh.
The oil executives out, they think this is temporary. So, dude, I'm really definitely thinking of selling some of my eggs on, or at least factoring in working with the profits. You know what I mean? Selling half and working with the profits right now.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I mean
know?
you're bulletproof on that, so that was great. A great buy, obviously. So
Yeah,
um
it's always good. I'm just gonna, for me, this is for me. Oil and gold are normally really good in situations like this, especially wars, etc. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, but
essential.
you don't want to. For me, just again, my own portfolio, I don't want to keep them forever, especially if I've made such a big gain. I want to at least sell half and play with the house's money. Again, that's how I do things. You know what I mean? But that's just how I work. Everybody can work a different way.
Yeah, yeah, you do partial. I mean, most investors do that, and there's a very valid, reason for that. So yeah, I don't. I'm just all in, all out. But yeah, trimming is definitely would be not. I mean, I personally, if it was my position, I would wait a little bit to see if some of the stuff gets priced in, especially if oil starts hitting like 150 or whatever. Um, since the price hasn't even really moved, like what's the difference between you selling this week and last week? It's like tomato. You're like, oh, let me wait till we get a little something gets priced in there.
But I
Like at
don't,
least
I don't, I don't know if the
this
price is.
quarter's profit is going to be juicy.
But here's the thing: if the price hasn't been moving with Exxon lately, the last 2 days at whatever it was, 80 to 100 or whatever it was, right? What makes it think it's going to change from 100 to 120? Again, yes,
At
you can
least
wait,
sell the
but it may
calls. There's
not
got to be
get.
something.
It
You can
may
at
not
least
get
sell
to.
covered calls there, right? And so there's got to be some sort of premium priced into the
Uh,
stock.
you could, but
The
we
calls,
could
there's no
talk.
premium
Yeah,
in it.
you
Do you
could. You
watch the
could.
do you watch the options market?
No, I don't normally do options yet. We should have
Uh,
you want I should put a poll for honest. We should do one on options. Maybe that's for a few months down the line. You know what I mean?
okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I personally love options. Although it take a while to wrap your head around. But the main downsides of options is that the markets are way less liquid. So,
Not only
you know,
that, there's only so many stocks you can buy options for, right? You can't do
yeah,
all.
it's true. You have these little like calc, for example. We're talking about calc. There's basically no, I mean, there are options technically for calc, but like they're so illiquid, so like they're virtually there's nobody in the market. You're buying and selling this giant spread of the market maker, and you're like, how much does it make money doing this?
Yeah, more. It's certainly more difficult. So yeah, I mean, we can. I guess we
Quite
can
a
have.
handicap. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, we'll do another one. In fact, I'm going to write that down. We're going to do it. We're going to do one on options.
We can do
Options.
exactly. We can even just do like now with Summit, where I'm either trading it or doing the options, depending on like for me.